slide and I'll.
Welcome to another Provident webinar. To our returning listeners, a special thank you for staying with us. To our first-time listeners, I'm glad you're joining us, and we hope you'll return on a regular basis. Tonight, I'm excited to have Joe Bonanno return with us to provide the second part of a series related to first responder health. The feedback we received in June when Joe talked about first responder nutrition was terrific. If you missed the webinar, you could visit www.providentins.com and use the training resources link in the upper right-hand corner and follow the links to the previously recorded webinars. Tonight, Joe's going to give you valuable information related to specific exercises you should consider as a first responder and give you tips to aid in your recovery after an incident. Joe, take a minute or two, a couple of minutes, and reintroduce yourselves to our new listeners.
Yes, I wanted to welcome all my brother and sister firefighters from across the country. I'm a retired New York City firefighter. I did 22 years with the New York City Fire Department. I was part of the rescue and recovery at Ground Zero after 9/11. I'm also a certified fitness trainer and a nutritionist and academy trained chef. I won America's Greatest Firehouse Chef contest back in the late 90s. And when I retired after 9/11, I went to culinary school to get my chef's degree. I was basically a firehouse trained chef. I just released in 2021 a 20-year anniversary cookbook called American Firehouse Cuisine. And I just recently, in the last 6 months, launched a YouTube cooking show called American Firehouse Cuisine. That's my background for fitness and nutrition. And I'd like to get to this right now and talk to all the people that are listening. We did the nutrition one already. It was great. Got really great feedback from it. And I was just telling Ed before, we're not here to embarrass you or beat you up or, call you out of shape or anything. We're here to help you. That's what I'm doing here. And that's what I'd like to see. I want to help. And we'll go through this step by step. If you have any questions, you can call me personally. You can email me personally. We had that last time with the nutrition. A few firefighters, one named Caleb. As a matter of fact, I've been communicating with him about getting his nutrition correct. It's pretty easy stuff, but we're going to get through it. And any questions you have, we'll
we'll have the links when we send out the email tomorrow at the conclusion of everything, the links to your YouTube channel so people can find your YouTube channel for your cuisine and the links for your book and the links to your website as well. So I need to go through our proverbial slides so people know who Provident is. So Provident started in 1902 as an independent insurance agency in Pittsburgh. In 1928, they realized that volunteer firefighters in particular, if they got hurt doing their job as volunteers, didn't have any kind of income protection or employment protection. So they started an insurance program that provided benefits to those volunteers while they were laid up. Today, we provide volunteer combination career firefighters, emergency medical responders, and law enforcement now with a variety of insurance programs. We're celebrating our 7th year as a top insurance employer as rated by the Insurance Business America magazine. Some of the programs that we offer as far as insurance, we have an accident and health program that provides insurance coverage ranging from a death benefit to employment coverage if you're laid up. If you are an accident and health client, you and your immediate family have access to our first responder assistance program, where you can make a toll-free call to get help on a variety of subjects from mental health ranging to financial advice. 24-hour accidental death and dismemberment policy. This is a policy that would cover your members even when they're off duty. So you have a member that's out hunting, falls out of the tree stand, it would pay a death benefit to the family. We have a group term life policy. Critical illness and cancer policy. Our critical illness policy pays a living benefit if you're diagnosed with cancer, have a heart attack, stroke, or renal failure. And then in the last several years, we broke into the property and casualty arena. And if you're a Fire Plus client, in other words, if we're insuring your equipment in your buildings, you have would have access to our online training platform, the Fire Plus Academy, that has over 800 courses, which is actually sponsored and ran on the backside by Fire Rescue One, which is now part of Lexipol. Our next webinar will be on September the 24th with two folks from Europe, Lena Hackinson, who's a fire engineer from Sweden, and Carl Batchelor, who's a tactical firefighter coordinator for a company that has a system called Cobra Cold Cut Systems. And we're going to talk about the tools and the tactics that our friends in Europe are using to deal with lithium-ion battery fires. Tonight, as we already know, our friend Joe is here. Joe, I got to tell you, I'm glad you reached out to me several months ago. I don't remember how you got our contact information, but I'm glad you did. And I look forward to continuing doing webinars with you and helping you promote the things that you do for the fire service. So
Well, I'm looking forward to helping the fire service because it's an area that really needs some help. And I know firefighters don't like to hear it from a fitness professional or MD. They'd really rather hear it from one of their own that's lived the life they do. So that's what I'm here for, saving
okay,
lives
sir,
through fitness and nutrition. All
take
right,
it
so
away.
okay, so that was the introduction. Sam, you could turn to the second slide. Shows the couple of the books that I published. All right, the Healthy Firehouse Cookbook, the Firehouse Grilling Cookbook, recently American Firehouse Cuisine, and I did a children's book, Firefighting Elephant children's book, and that's also about fitness. So I'm going to go to the fourth slide here. You with me, Sam? The fourth slide, because I want people to read this. And I just said it before to Ed. You lose the right to be out of shape the day that you take the oath. And it's part of your job. If you don't want to be in shape, go be an accountant or a lawyer or something like that. Our job is a physical job. Yes, you need to know tactics and procedures, but when it comes down to it, it's a physical job, which means that's what it says. You lose the right to be out of shape the day you take the oath. Does it mean you have to be Mr. America? No, but you just have to be fit. And I'll go over a little bit what it means to be fit for this job a little later on in the demonstration. Okay, so the next slide, I like to start this in, and we're gonna have some fun too, brothers and sisters. I'm not here to beat you up. I want to have some fun because it's a serious business. Our job is serious business, but I want you to have some fun with it too. So, do you have the car slide up? Yeah. Okay, so that's everybody when you got out of Proby school, right? Brand new car. Everything's running great. The motor's humming. The tranny's shifting great. The interior's nice. This is how we all get out of the training academy. And we start the job saying, I'm going to stay like that throughout my whole career. I'm going to keep the car shiny and change the oil and keep up with it. But life gets in the way. You got your full-time job as a firefighter. Maybe you have a family, kids to take care of, maybe a second job. Starts taking you away from being fit. So then what happens is 10, 20 years down the road, go to the next slide. That's what the car ends up looking like 10 or 20 years down the road. So my point is to not let the car get that bad, because now to take this car and put it back in the condition it was 10, 20, even 30 years ago, it's a major restoration. And most people aren't going to do that. So the thing is to keep it up all during your career. And listen, on duty, we can work out. So next slide, Sam. And again, do I really have to say why? It's a physical job. Strength, muscular endurance, aerobic capacity for job performance. So we're going to talk about strength. We're going to talk about aerobic capacity, cardiovascular health. And believe it or not, one of the best things I like about working out, it's good for you from the neck up. I'm actually putting a book together called Fitness from the Neck Up. It's actually good for you from the neck up. You got stuff going on at home. You got people you argue with at work. You go to the gym for an hour. It's a stress reliever. I mean, studies have actually shown contracting of muscles actually secretes some kind of serotonin that puts you in a better mood. So there's nothing but positive reasons to do it. Nothing but positive reasons. It helps your job performance, helps your mental health. And I'm big about longevity because I'm retired now. And I was telling Ed before we were talking about, I said it in the nutrition tape. Everybody's like, listen, we didn't get big enough of a raise. And they always say, excuse the language, screw the city. Well, listen, you're only going to get what you're going to get as a raise. The best way to screw the city is to finish out your job healthy, live a long, healthy retirement, and collect your pension until you're about 106 years old. That's the best way to get them back. Just keep collecting your pension. So, and that's what I'm more about, the longevity afterwards, and also job performance. As a New York City fireman, I'm not going to say anything, but I've seen it too many times where an overweight firefighter, unfit, winds up being on the second floor landing with his mask off, and I'm on the sixth floor waiting for him, and he can't make it. So some other firefighter has to come up and take the job. Now, I don't know. I never would lambaste the guy for not being like that, but I think he gets the message. Now, that's what I'm doing here. We're going to do something about it. We're going to turn that. I don't know if we can get you back to the restored 20-year condition, but we're going to take that old car through exercise and nutrition and get you back. And realistically, okay? Okay, so the next slide. Okay, so we get back into the whys. Firefighting requires strength and muscular endurance in just about every muscle. The added benefit is the more muscle that you have, it's metabolically active. It burns fuel at rest. It means it's easier to keep body fat off and keep the muscle on once you have put on a little bit of muscle mass. It makes weight and body composition control easier. And I have it right here on the slide. I do want you to be well-versed in every tactic there is. Learn every fireground tactic: ventilate, entry, search, roof, trimming windows, taking doors down. That's all important. But it's useless if you can't make it to the fire floor or the incident, or you're completely out of breath and you can't concentrate. So that's why the whys of it are right in front of you. So we're going to try to help you through it. Click to the next picture. That was Paul Combs. He's a famous artist, and he put this up, and it says, let's talk about this New Year's fitness resolution, because everybody starts the first year. I know you all want to be great firefighters, and I know you want to be in shape, but it's the how of it. What do I do? How often do I work out? And listen, I was a fitness trainer. I trained hundreds and hundreds of people, firefighters included, and we can talk you through. Like I said, feel free to email me personally, but we'll go over the basics here. All right, next slide. And okay, so first thing we have to do, oh, that's me and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that's an example, the highest example of what you could look like if you get in really fantastic shape. And that's me and Arnold at the Arnold Classic years ago. Like Danny DeVito twins. I think I'm a little closer twin than Arnold and Danny DeVito. Next slide. It'd be strength and muscular endurance. And now, okay, so whenever I get a client or it's a firefighter, okay, let's talk assessment. What condition are you in now? I mean, we all know. I mean, if you were at the last job that you were at and you were out of breath, you know it's aerobic conditioning. You're carrying way too much body fat. That's another issue to deal with. So we don't have to get rid of the body fat, increase your aerobic conditioning. But what I like to do for an assessment is, and I say, you should be able at any time during your career to pass your own entrance exam. Or the Firefighter Combat Challenge, you can complete that within 3 to 5 minutes. I mean, 5 minutes is doable if you're reasonably fit. If you're not going to get through the first 3 events of the Firefighter Combat Challenge. And that's actually a picture of me at Randall's Island. I just broke the Firefighter Combat Challenge record over 40 at 2 minutes. And you can see I'm pretty beat up there, and I was fit. So you don't see the unfit people there. You see the fit people, but that's what I want. I want you to be able to complete the Firefighter Combat Challenge. And I put there, explain its process. I've had firefighters that I work with say, that's not firefighting. When I came back from the Firefighters Combat Challenge and with a good score, they were like, that's not firefighting. You know, the overweight, unfit firefighters, of course. That's not firefighting. I go, it's not? You're dragging a hose, opening the hose and hitting the target, dragging a dummy, carrying a rolled up 5 stories. How is that not, but that's some of the mentality out there that we're trying to correct. Next slide. Well, there's your old car that we're looking to restore. And some people have gotten that bad. I mean, look at that. Trying to restore, and I'd say don't wait for the car to get that bad. That's a major, major restoration. Most people aren't going to do it. So how we assess, I just gave you the other assessments. You should be able to complete your um, entrance examination physical, and you should be able to complete the firefighter combat challenge in 3 to 5 minutes. Or here's basics. Any firefighter should be able to do 10 to 20 push-ups, 5 to 10 pull-ups with your own body weight, and freehand squat 20 reps. So that's carrying your upper body, back and lower body, and your legs. 10 to 20 push-ups, 5 to 10 pull-ups, and freehand squat 20 reps. If you can't do that, you're that call. I'm sorry. This is where we might have to beat you up a little bit. We have to do something about it. And it's doable. So that assessment, I usually say it's a letter grade A through F. And a B, and all we have to do as firefighters is you don't have to be, you want to be A plus, you want to compete in an event, you're into martial arts, or you're into boxing, or you're into uh, marathon running, or some other sport, jujitsu. Yeah, that's great. But it's your job to stay in shape and be a B average. So most firefighters aren't going to be competitive, but a B average is not a lot to ask. That's in firefighting, that's adequate. You could get by on a B average. And then think how easy it is if you're a B average and at some point later in your life you do want to take up a sport or a hobby that requires physical. It's an easy jump to get a B student to go be an A student. The F student is that car, and trying to get that car back into showroom condition. It's a long, tedious process. I've done it once or twice with friends, but it was a really, really, really hard road. So the point is, don't let it get that bad. So you can see that maintaining a B average in fit nutrition makes it easy to further tune up fitness nutrition to an A plus for self-competition or a chosen sport or activity. It's a major restoration of a car or a body to go from an F to an A or B. And E, if you want to, it can be. I'm not saying it can't be done, but you got to go you got to be 3 months all in and Navy SEAL strict. And that's no dabbling. That doesn't mean I'm going to miss a workout. And yeah, we had dessert at the firehouse the other night. No, you have to be Navy SEAL strict for 3 months, and you can restore the car just like you could restore that car in 3 months if you really went at it. But the point is, don't let it get that bad. And the other one is aerobic conditioning. That's strength conditioning. Was it? I had 10 to 20 push-ups, 5 to 10 pull-ups, and freehand squat 20 reps. You should be able to jog 1 mile comfortably, or at least walk 1 mile in full gear. That's a B average. 10 to 20 push-ups, 5 to 10 pull-ups, body weight squat 20 reps, jog a mile comfortably, or walk 1 mile in full gear. If you can do that, you're a B average. You're going to be a great firefighter for your career and hopefully longevity. And you won't be able to do that if you're carrying too much body fat or you're unfit. Okay, so next slide. So now we get into, okay, so now we're getting into, okay, what do we do? You know, a lot of firefighters have drawn a blank. Like, okay, so what do I do? Do I jog a lot? Do I run? Do I lift weights? Well, I've found the best workout all around for firefighters is a typical bodybuilder's workout. Because why? Well, we're not power lifters or weightlifters. The job requires a mix of strength and endurance, all muscles, and it's not a one lift event like powerlifting or weightlifting. It's great to be that strong, of course, and that's a whole nother avenue for you to pursue outside of the job, but you also need a mix of strength and endurance. So why a bodybuilder's workout works great is because firefighting, basically, you're using every muscle in your body for between 8 and 15 reps. I mean, you run up a flight of stairs. It's not a marathon. You're going to be up there in 2 to 3 minutes. When you get to the door, you got your Halligan, you got your racks. Now you got to use your upper body. You're going to be swinging at the door, what, 8 to 10 reps. If you're not taking the door out in 8 to 10 reps, you need some strength work. So that's what I'm saying. A bodybuilder's workout, and the main goal of a bodybuilder is sound nutrition, cardiovascular work to keep the body fat down, and they're fit, And so a typical bodybuilder's workout, and again, I'm not against any of the sports or anything like that. It's just add some other bodybuilding training to round out your lifting. So if you're a power lifter or a weightlifter and you're doing clean and jerks and snatches and stuff like that, 1 reps, 3 reps, round out your training with some leg work, arm work, shoulder work, more like a bodybuilder's workout. At another point in your workout, 8 to 10 repetitions, you know, eight, between 8 and 12 sets of body part. We'll get into that a little further, but so a bodybuilder's workout, structure-wise, pretty much replicates what you're going to do as a firefighter. So we're going to be doing bodybuilding and aerobics. It's a great mix, and it's a great way to train. Okay, next slide. And one of the great, this is Lee Haney, another Mr. Olympia, who I met. Great man, really terrific bodybuilder. He actually beat Arnold. Arnold won 7 years in a row. Mr. Olympia, he won 8. Very knowledgeable about training and stuff like that. And then, you know, one of the other benefits, listen, we're all vain in some way. Look at Lee Haney's physique. You end up with low body, and you end up with a great physique. And I mean, it's not the goal of a firefighter to have a great physique, but it doesn't hurt. It helps you in your life. It helps you in dating. It helps you be attractive to your spouse, partner. So there's nothing but pluses to it. The hard part is getting into the gym and doing it. And we'll talk a little bit about that further. So, and I'm hopefully I'm inspiring people that are listening, in one form or another. I like this. A lot of the firefighters like the screw to city thing, stay in great shape and then collect your pension till you're 106. All right, on to the next slide. Okay, so this is a rough idea of how to make up a workout program. Depending on your schedule, splitting your workouts is easier. So like, let's say Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, off the weekend. A lot of people want to be off the weekend. Or 2 days on, one off, one on, one off. And resistance training, each body part, minimum once or twice a week. I'm finding actually at an older age that it's just easy to do one body part a week and still maintain strength and physique and all the other stuff. So younger, I could handle the recovery better. But at this age, I'm holding on to muscle and staying fit, doing one body part a week. So for example, like let's say, Monday would be chest and triceps. You break up your body parts. Monday's chest and triceps, back. Tuesday's back and biceps. Wednesday's your off day. Maybe Thursday you do shoulders. Friday you do legs, and that's fine. And then the other time, get next slide, Sam, please. And then in between that, when we're going to talk about cardiovascular conditioning, because that's important too. That's not part of your weight workout. And again, if you're saying, well, who has the time for this? A good bodybuilding workout to be a B average, not competitive, you're looking at 30 minutes, 35 minutes, and another 20, 25 minutes cardiovascular. So you're looking at an hour commitment in the gym 3-4 days a week. I don't think that's a lot. Most of us have the facility in the firehouse to work. I did, I know I'm asked a few times that, you don't want your legs, you're on the third set of squats with heavy weight and you got to run out and climb an 8-story building or climb a area ladder. I have done it. I probably still can, but I guess maybe you might not want to do a leg workout at the firehouse or something like that. I don't know, but I found we pretty much were able to get it in, or come in an hour early, or leave an hour late when you're off duty and train at the firehouse gym. So let's talk a little bit. Okay, so that's the training part of it, and the most important part is the rest. And I break it down simply when I've trained people. What are we doing? We're building a body. How do you build a house? How do you build a car? Labor and material. The labor is the workout. The material is the nutrition. And I refer people back, if you can look up on Ed's website, you can see the nutrition thing, which is one of the most important parts of it. But it's so simple. It's labor and material. The workout is the damage. You do some damage to your muscles. Rest of nutrition is when you grow. When you don't grow when you're training. That's the damage part of it. You grow from. Got a funny story. Actually, put a funny story in there. My father was a New York City firefighter for 34 years in the South Bronx. Didn't work out. Wasn't heavy or anything. I guess he had good genetics, but I'll never forget. I came home one day from working out, and he wanted me to mow the lawn, and I said I can. I just finished working out. He goes, "What do you mean you just finished working? You can't?" I said, "Well, I got to grow." And I was on the couch, and well, you can imagine what he said to that. But that's my funny growth story. But I'm busy growing. He goes, I'll give you growing. But all right, so we're going to use progressive resistance training. What's progressive resistance mean? Progressive, it gets more and more as you get stronger. So we can do weights. We can do it at home, the firehouse, the gym. There's dozens and dozens of YouTube websites on just calisthenics alone. If weights isn't your thing, or you have joint issues, or anything, you can do calisthenics. And I like bands. I mean, I like elastic bands, especially for a firehouse, because you don't have to worry about dropping the weight on you. You can take the bands with you wherever you go, set your own gym up. And the Blake Castle, his name is, he owns Body Elastic. They make some of the best bands out there, and they have a warrior kit that, I mean, the bands go up to such a strength that you can't even move them. It's a great little kit. If you get a chance, if bands is the way you'd like to go. I just like it because you can set it up in a small room in your house, bring it to the firehouse if they don't have a gym. You don't have to worry about dropping weights, and the strength curve on them is really, really good. So just pick 2 to 4 exercises a body part. One is a multi-joint, one is a single joint. Well, what does that mean? All right, well, a curl, barbell curl, the only joint that's moving is your elbow. So that's a single joint movement. If you do a hands facing you pull up, you're using your biceps, but you're also using your shoulder joint. So that's 2 joint. It's a multi-joint, just like a squat. A leg extension where you're pushing your legs out. The knee joint's the only thing moving. You're squatting, the knee and the hip and the ankle's moving. So it's a multi-joint. So just pick one multi-joint movement. That's the one you do a little heavier, and one single joint movement. And you do 3 to 4 sets of exercise per body part to near failure. The studies are even showing now you don't even have to go near failure anymore, and risk hurting yourself if you're ego lifting. So that's the basics on. Okay, so let's go to the next slide here. Let's slow down a little bit because my New York in me is talking too fast. So 8 to 12 repetitions. The last few sets should be near or at muscular failure to be safe. Make sure you have a spotter. That's why I like the bands. The bands, you don't need a spotter. If you can't do it, it just comes right back down again. Well, I can't demonstrate the basic exercises, but chest, back, shoulders, back, biceps, triceps, legs. That's how you break the body parts down. There's so much information out there. Again, email me personally if you want to ask, but there's so much information out there for each body part. I happen to like Ben Pokolsky and Athlean X, Jeff Cavalier, 2 really great guys. You look them up on the internet. Athlean X or Ben Pokolsky. Tremendous, tremendous informative demonstration on all the exercises that you need to do to maintain a strong muscular physique for the fire service. Okay, and that's Arnold Schwarzenegger's twisting back pose. I actually got to meet him once. He was really pretty neat guy. All right, on to the next. So another way to do it, if you're really busy, and Arnold did this when he was filming Predator because he didn't really have the time to do his normal 2-hour mix up the body part workouts, is a circuit training type of thing. So that's basically you picking one body part and you go right from one to another. And one of the benefits of it, it's very cardiovascular. Nowadays they call it HIIT, high intensity interval training. And the added benefit of it is increases cardiovascular and aerobic conditioning, as well as getting stronger. And this is if you're really busy and you got to really knock a workout out and you don't have time to just individually do chest, back, biceps at different days a week. So what you would do is say it's going to be the same body parts, but it'll be like chest, back, shoulders, biceps, triceps, legs. So what you would do is, let's say you would do, if it's going to be calisthenics, you would do 10 push-ups. Then you would stand up. Let's say you have the bands immediately. You don't no rest. You immediately grab let's say you're using dumbbells or bands and you do curls. Then you put the dumbbells or the bands on your shoulders and you do presses. Then you bend over and you do bent over rows. Then you do squats. You do each body part one right after another, and you'll be breathing pretty heavy. So what you do with that is they call it rounds, like boxing. So you do continuously for 6 to 12 rounds. And you get great cardiovascular benefit, great strength, and you knock the workout out in like 20 minutes. And you're getting both out of it rather than 30 minutes of bodybuilding training 30 minutes of cardiovascular. 30 minutes, you're done. And for most firefighters, again, that's a B average, and we can all do that. But it's very tough on you cardiovascularly, wind-wise. So you might start with 6 rounds, then you work up to 7 rounds, 12 rounds. Rep range is the same. Like I said, 10 push-ups, 12 push-ups, 12 presses, 12 curls. But it's great for maintenance and even results if you do it hard enough. Um, and again, even basic calisthenics. I mean, I don't want to go too depth into it here because maybe when I do a live seminar, we can actually have some demonstrations. But like I said, go on the internet to pick out the exercises that you want to do. And all right, so Sam, let's move to the next one. All right, and then we're getting into the aerobic and the cardiovascular part of it. Why? My primary thing with all of you firefighters, brothers and sisters that are listening, I want you to have a great career. I want you to be great firefighters. I want you to pull up to the door with a Halligan and an axe and blow that door down, not be out of breath. Take recovery when you get back. Retire. And I want to hear from you when you're retired. 10 years, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. That's what I'd like to hear. That's what I want to see. And that's how we're going to do it. So cardiovascular, my primary thing is health first. Physique, strength, endurance, all that stuff is great, but it's health first. Second is longevity. And the heart disease and heart attack statistics for firefighters are huge, huge. And I said it to Ed before, suicide, heart attacks, and job related diseases and cancers and heart attacks are killing us more than getting trapped in burning buildings. So again, I'll emphasize how important learning your tactics are, escape, rope rescues, all of that is so important. But it's more important. This is actually more important, I think. And I'm not discounting any of that other training at all. I mean, it's so important. But this, you want to be a fit firefighter, be able to. And one of the other reasons is look at the extra gear we wear. It's up to 90 pounds, and we're encapsulated in, in gear, sweating, testing your heart rate even more. I mean, the physical strains on your body, on a firefighter's body versus a regular person are huge. And your body has to be up for the challenge. And that's why we're losing so many firefighters to heart disease and heart attacks and stuff like that. And even the statistics you don't hear about is the longevity. The firefighters that are dying 3, 4, 5 years after they retire, they're not living out their retirement. So that's what I want to hopefully prevent for all you firefighters. All right, on to the next one. We're wise about it. What else do we work in? Not only is our gear encapsulating in us, we're also working in high heat conditions, high mentally and emotionally stressful situations, secreting stress, fight or flight hormones. We're basically getting up for a complete rest to go 100 miles an hour. That car has to be in really great shape to do that. And the heart is a muscle just like any other muscle, and it can be trained and it can be detrained. That's why so many firefighters are getting heart attacks. The gear, the equipment, the high heat conditions, the stress, and now your body's not fit to be able to take it. Your heart isn't fit to be able to take it. So the unfit, incline treadmill or brisk walking, out of breath. So this is another test that I have when I put somebody on it. Somebody says, "Oh, I'm on a treadmill 5 days a week. I don't understand how come I'm so out of breath." Well, they set the treadmill up at 3 miles an hour on completely flat. I don't even like treadmills myself because when you walk on the street, the sidewalk isn't coming towards you. When you're on a treadmill, the sidewalk's coming to you, so it's eliminating some of the exercise portion of it. So how you counter that is either you put the treadmill on an incline or set the speed up a little bit. And what's our guide? I talked about it in the nutrition one, but what's our guideline for being on a treadmill? Most firefighters have a treadmill or on the street. Well, the rule of thumb, without using a heart monitor, and I've used them before, you don't need to go for the extra gear or expense. The best way to do it, when you're walking on a treadmill and you count to 10, if you can count to 10 comfortably, so you have it flat, 3 miles an hour, and you walk. And I've had firefighters say this to me 5 days a week. I'm out of breath. They'll put it on the treadmill on regular speed, 3 miles an hour, flat. And I said to the firefighter, "Okay, count to 10." 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Never out of breath. You're not taxing your body enough. So I would put the incline up about 3 degrees and maybe 1 or 2 miles an hour faster, and take your hands off the railing. And I said to the same firefighter, now count to 10. And this is how it should sound. 3 breaths and a count of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So about every 3 breaths. And that's, your heart rate is in the perfect thing for cardiovascular fitness. If you set the treadmill up too high and you can't count to 10, it's too hard. So that's really what you want to be. And guess what's going to happen as you get more and more fit? 3 degrees of incline, 3 miles an hour, a month into it, you'll be able to count to 10 again easily. So guess what? Up 1 more degree, up 1 more mile an hour, count to 10 again. Now you should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that goes with anything, even what I was said before about the HIIT training. When you're doing that, you shouldn't be so out of breath that you're not breathing like a runaway train that you can't breathe, but you shouldn't be so that you can converse easily. So if you do those circuit training HIIT type things, you'll see 6 to 12 rounds, 20 minutes, you'll be breathing pretty hard. All right, so let's go to the next slide. All right, and now we're back to assessment on your body composition. Okay, so self-assessment, you can use a body fat composition indicator, body fat calipers. They're on Amazon for about $15. Cheap enough investment, because I don't go by a scale, and we talked about it in the nutrition one. And my best example of that is people tell me, 6'4" or 6'5", 305 pounds, in shape or out of shape. Most people say, wow, 305 pounds, 6'5". Yeah, it might be. Yeah, well, John Candy, the actor, was 6'5" and 305 pounds. And Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk, was 6'5" and 305. Look at the conditioning difference between the two of them. So body weight, it's not really a great indicator. I've had plenty of women that I've trained, and it was almost scary for them because they weighed more at the end of training because they put on muscle and lost body fat. Volume-wise, body fat is like cotton candy. Muscle is like lead. It's very concentrated. So a firefighter could be really muscular, or a girl could get really muscular training, put on 5 pounds and lose 10 pounds of muscle. On the scale, she only lost 5 pounds, but the difference in your physique and your training is completely different. So that's why I said I like to use body fat calipers. And I like to, rule of thumb things where you don't have to be so in depth about it, be average. So if you don't want to go for the body fat calipers to get an exact measurement, the best thing to do is go even with your navel, belly button, go to your right, find that hip bone and grab above that hip bone and pinch. And if it's thicker than 2 of your fingers, you either got to get bigger fingers or it's time to do a body fat assessment and say, I need to lose a few pounds of body fat. So when I say lose weight, and that's one of the biggest qualifiers I always say, and it tells me that a fitness professional doesn't know what he's talking about. He says, oh yeah, we got to get you to lose weight. You don't want to lose weight. You want to change your body composition. That's the best way to say it. Lose body fat. So in other words, if you're an unfit firefighter, I'm just going to pick a body weight. Let's say you're 240 pounds and you're do a body fat assessment. We figure out that you're 30 to 40 pounds, carrying 30 to 40 pounds of body fat. Well, guess what? If you start training regularly with weights, clean up your nutrition, reference the nutrition thing, seminar, you could lose 40 pounds and gain 20. So your net loss was only 20. But the difference in your physique, if you gain 20 pounds of muscle and lose 40 pounds of fat, your physique is going to look phenomenal and you'll be in great shape. So don't always use I just like to pinch test. And usually when I say assessment, most people can look in a mirror and know what they have to do. Matter of fact, it's funny. A few of the women that I've trained have actually scared the men too, because I said, listen, I can do that. I can do exact body fat caliper test, and but you don't need that. So they go, well, how are we going to assess what I look like? I go, okay, put a bikini on, or for men, a Speedo or a thin bathing suit. Get under a fluorescent light, take a picture from the front and a picture from the back, and don't look at it. And then come to me in 3 days and we'll do your assessment. Then you look at the picture and you tell me. And most people are like, oh my God, I had no idea. I had no idea it was that bad. Well, all right. So bad doesn't matter. Let's fix it. And again, I use the example here. I said not always George Foreman, because George Foreman could run 8 miles and go 13, go 12 rounds in a boxing match. And he was in great shape and he was carrying some body fat, but he was cardiovascularly fit. And that's fine. So again, you should be able to jog a mile or walk a mile in full gear in under 10 to 12 minutes. That's not asking a lot. That's a B average for firefighting. You'll handle yourself on any fire scene, any fire ground. And then do that for the rest of your life and you'll be fine. If you ever want to take it to the next level, we can do that too. All right, next slide. Okay, that's Bill Pearl. Well, recommended book if you want to exercise examples. Arnold Schwarzenegger had a book called The Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding. I think you can get it used on Amazon. But this is, I met him. This is Bill Pearl. He's actually the only bodybuilder that ever beat Arnold Schwarzenegger in competition. And he was very good friends with Chief Alan Brunacini of the Phoenix Fire Department. He used to do a seminar there every year. And that's where I met him, actually. And he lived to be 94 years old. But he has an excellent book called Keys to the Inner Universe by Bill Pearl. It's every exercise you could possibly imagine for weight training. Very inspirational book. So let's, next slide. Okay, so now we get to the funny parts of this, which is which machines work. And I love when I get this question from people, because over the course of my career and firefighters that I've worked with, it's almost funny to me because I've known them since I'm 22 years old through a whole career. And they were that car. We all came out of the training academy and we were that new car. I stayed fit. Some of them let themselves go. And now, especially retired, they really kind of let themselves go. And but every year around the holidays, they'll ask me, what's the best machine, Joe? What do you think of PS90X on TV? What do you think of the Nordic Track? What do you think of Tony Little's Gazelle on the QVC? What do you think of this machine? He goes, do they work? I go, yeah, they all work. You have to use them, but you just don't order them. And my friends have ordered the everybody gets like ordered the PS90, ordered the Nordic Track, and I go, why are you waiting for the perfect machine? Why don't you just walk 4 days a week for 20 minutes and stay reasonably fit? Not unlike the car, that showroom car, let's say that, I think it was a 50 Buick. That car, if your grandfather gave you that car and you put it in the garage and you drove it once a month, waxed it every 6 months, took it for servicing, oil changes and stuff, 20, 30 years later, the car it's not going to be in the same exact condition, but it's going to be in pretty good condition. That's all you have to do. So what would be basic maintenance on your body? It's like brushing your teeth. People wouldn't go 3 weeks without brushing your teeth. That's maintenance for your teeth. So why would you go 3, 4, 5, 10 years a career not being fit, and now you want to fix it later? So which machines work? Why do you decide? We can talk further about that, but just go out of the house, walk for 20 minutes. And we talked about that a little bit in the nutrition section too. Less than 20 minutes, it's not enough. In other words, my point is, don't do 5 minutes. Next week I'll do 10. Next week I'll do 15. Next week I'll do 20. I'll work my way up. The better way to work your way up is do the minimum of 20 minutes. It takes that long for your body to actually get it, that it's exercising, to access body fat, to give you cardiovascular conditioning. In 5 minutes of walking, your heart's not going to get cardiovascularly fit. You're not going to drop any body fat. It's not going to do anything. So what I'm saying is do 20 minutes, but do it slow. Then increase the speed or the incline, or maybe a weighted vest. So then if you're doing a month of 20 minutes 3 times a week, maybe go to 25 minutes. Maybe get a weighted vest. Maybe walk up a hill. Something to tax you a little bit further. And they all work, and this, I have it here, the on my slide, the kickstart excuse, which is I love. They're like, no, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get all new equipment, and I'm going to eat. There's this cabbage soup diet. All you do is eat cabbage soup for 10 days straight, and you work out like crazy, and you lose like 15 pounds immediately. You're trying to kickstart it, or I won't eat it all, or I'm going to. These kickstart excuses never work. So, in other words, the best way to put it, it's better to have 6 months, 4 days a week of terrible workouts than 2 weeks of, excuse the language, balls to the walls, kick ass workouts. Because that's what most people do. They join up at the gym, they go 2 weeks, done. Have 6 months of terrible workouts. You get much better results. And then it becomes a habit that you'll learn to like, you know. And it's more about the neck up. I keep talking about getting your mind right. Like the best time of day, night, the best equipment, the time equipment. It's all when you'll do it. When is the best time that you can do it? And again, if you feel like calling me personally, talking to me personally, that's what I say. Listen, some people don't like walking. Some people don't like being on a treadmill. I've had people say it's boring to me. So that's why we switched them to doing circuit training. And then they found that was rewarding. Um, some people, I don't know, their father was a boxer and they like to jump rope. Okay, then jump rope instead of walk. You know, whatever works for you, whatever the machine or the exercise that you'll do, that's the one that you want. Um, so okay, let's try the next slide there, Sam. That'd be cardiovascular. Okay. And yeah, I put down here the all or nothing excuse. It's not sustainable. And I think that damage control, because when I do get a firefighter who's super psyched or a fitness client, they go, no, I'm all in, Joe. Just like you said, I am going to be a Navy SEAL for 3 months. I'm going to do weights at night. I'm going to do cardio in the morning. My diet's going to be the all or nothing. I call it an excuse because most people, it's not sustainable when you let the car go that bad. So let's just get back. And I say damage control. So in other words, if you're carrying way too much body fat and you're cardiovascularly unfit, first thing we got to target is getting your body fat down a little bit, which is going to make the cardiovascular work, walking, circuit training, it's going to make that easier. So first thing we got to get under is damage control. We'll handle the weights later. Let's get damage control. Let's get body fat down to a reasonable percentage. And then from there, either stay that way or you say you want to get stronger, bigger, stronger, more muscular. We can work on that. But damage control. Okay, same thing. Maybe you got a firefighter who's, keep addressing the body fat issue. We might have a firefighter who's really thin and he wants to be bigger and stronger for what? Taking doors down. Maybe he wants to transfer to a ladder company, carry a roof saw up to the roof. Okay, he wants to get bigger and stronger. That's damage control. He doesn't have body fat issues. He doesn't have cardiovascular issues. He has strength issues. Okay, so always think damage control. What do I want to attack first? The 1 in 1,000 that can do it all. You know, I'd rather see you do a little bit than nothing. And I have that here, like most of my friends wanted. While you're deciding on the best pill, potion, equipment, just get moving. Minimum of 3 times a week, 20 minutes walking. The health effects from that alone is huge. And then we can always go to the next level. And it takes, it's all about habits. It takes 21 days nutritionally, physically, and emotionally to make something into a habit. That's why standard rehab from drugs and alcohol is 28 days in rehab, because it takes 21 full days for your body to start accepting it as a habit. So if you do 21 days of working out, then you'll start to miss it because it's become a habit for you. And I can't do it on the video here, but um, if you however you wind up folding your arms across your body, that isn't genetic. That's just the way you trained yourself. Now, if you fold your arms the other way with the right in and the left out, it feels weird. But if you keep folding your arms like that for 21 days, your body's now reprogrammed itself to a new habit. So that's why I say 21 days is the minimum amount of time for something to become a habit. And it works in the reverse. If you let yourself go within 21 days of not working out, now it becomes even harder to get off the couch and start eating right and work out. So we think heart health first. The heart's a muscle, and this is the training for it, cardiovascular aerobic. And then it'll help change your body composition. Again, I refer back to our nutritional slide for nutrition. Um, okay, what's our next slide is, all right, so when we do, yeah, next slide, cardio, okay. Yeah, well, fat burning, let's explain it. An athlete burns fat for fuel almost immediately. The obese or high body fat individual, it takes 15 to 20 minutes for your body to even start accessing the body fat. That's why it's so hard to get back in shape. And an athlete, within minutes of him exercising, his body's already switched to using fat for fuel instead of glycogen and muscle stored. Glycogen is stored muscle, stored carbohydrates in your muscles. The high body fat, and it takes 15 to 20 minutes to start the process. And Covert Bailey, another one, if you take that name down, Covert Bailey, Fit or Fat, great book from the 70s. It still uh, makes sense today more than anything I've ever read. And he said, if you take somebody that's overweight and you said they're going to start working out, so they start running. And believe it or not, in a weird way, your body's making a phone call and it says, you're not going to believe it. She's running. Should we use body fat? Nah, she's only running for a car. She's not going to do 15, 20 minutes. 15 minutes later, if the woman, man is still exercising, running, whatever they're doing, get another phone call. Body says, this is 15 minutes now. Okay, let's switch body fat for fuel. That's the difference between being fit and unfit. And as you get more and more fit and less body fat, the phone call comes faster like the athlete. You're instantly, that's why it's so easy to stay in shape. Um, and if you lose muscle, your muscle burns fuel at rest. When you don't have that much muscle, you're burning less fuel. And that's why big muscles, more fuel, especially when you're doing leg work, is best for cardio aerobic exercise. And if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. You take somebody with bone skinny legs and they go on the treadmill. The muscles in their legs aren't that big. They don't require that kind of fuel from fat. The monster bodybuilder with the 30-inch thighs, he doesn't have to jog. All he has to do is walk slowly. Those big thigh muscles are drawing so much body fat for fuel that he doesn't even have to keep his body fat percentage down and muscular. He doesn't even have to work out that hard. Once you get there, big muscles equal big fuel. Also more oxygen debt, and fat actually burns best when you're under oxygen debt. That's why strict dieting and not eating doesn't work. Your body needs to be accessing oxygen to burn body fat. Um, all right, let's switch to the next one here. Okay. Now, I try to explain it in cooking terminology because when you exercise, your body blood temperature goes up 2 degrees, heat. And I use fat in the oven, for example. Why time and exercise works? Well, if you put your oven at 500 degrees and put a 10-pound glob of fat in there, all you're going to do is burn the fat. It's not going to melt the whole thing, right? It's better to a few minutes at high. That's why a few minutes at high intensity doesn't work. The fuel for that is anaerobic, no oxygen, stored glycogen in your muscles and liver, not fat. So really what you want to do is cut the oven down to about 250 to 300 degrees and leave it in there for what, like I said before, like exercising, 20 minutes. You have a better chance of melting that fat than 500 degrees for 5 minutes. And that's why, the way I explained it before, it doesn't work to just do 5 minutes at a time. So in our A plus to F assessment to maintain our B average, which is what I'd like to see us all do, which will coupled with B nutrition will get results and you can maintain a healthy career in retirement. B maintenance is what? 3 times a week with no resistance training, or 2 times a week. This is cardiovascular. Do your cardiovascular 3 times a week if you're not doing any resistance training. If you're doing resistance training and you're reasonably your body fat percentage is okay, 2 times a week when coupled with resistance training, and it'll have some cardiovascular benefit. So that's basic. B maintenance is 3 times a week with no resistance training, 2 times a week cardiovascular when you couple with resistance training, because you do get some cardiovascular benefit from that. Okay, let's go to the next one. And how I break this down is FIT, easy. Frequency, intensity, time. What's the frequency? How many times? 3 times a week. Every other day is better. Twice a day is overtraining. You don't want to be like that. I've done that in my life too. Too much training. And that's not good for you either. You just can't and won't recuperate. And then you're really putting yourself in a tenuous position with your job, because if you're that muscularly sore or fatigued, you won't be able to do your job either. So that's why I say common sense prevail, be average. B maintenance is, like I said, 3 times a week, no resistance training 2 times a week. So that's your frequency part of it. Next is intensity. Next slide. Okay. So again, when you're doing your cardiovascular, I don't want you breathing like a runaway locomotive. What you're doing is too hard, and you can't keep it up for 20 minutes. All right. That's like putting the oven at 500 degrees to melt the fat. To be in proper heart rate for cardio benefit and ideal body fat burning, again, I said it before, 2 to 3 breaths in a count of 10. If you can count to 10 easily, you need to either increase the speed, wear a weighted vest, just anything to get you breathing like that. 2 to 3 breaths in a count of 10. And again, what it would sound like would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and you can keep that up for 20 minutes. And as you progress, the same speed or incline will get easier. Guess what? Your heart's working better. So you got to up the intensity a little bit. Like eventually you'll plateau at a comfortable level, and if you can count to 10 without taking a breath, it's too easy. And I call that mall walking. People go to the mall to walk, and I don't know, is it movement? Is it exercise? Yeah, but it's not benefiting you cardiovascularly and especially for firefighting. All right, the last one is time. As an example above with the phone call, 5 minutes is not enough. Minimum, especially cardiovascular, 20 minutes. Minimum. Aerobic, minimum, I see it on the thing, 20 minutes. Labored breathing. Strength training, a guideline, 10 to 15 minutes a body part. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger used to do that, 15 minutes a body part. And he said, if I can't train my arms, I'm not training intense enough if I have to do an hour for my arms. 15 minutes is hard enough if you're working out hard. Keep this simple. Don't overdo the details. You know, perfect example is, of course, I have here two examples that I like to use. That's why I said I like to try to keep this as simple as possible. Um, but to keep it simple, and I use forcible entry as an example. One time we pulled up to forcing a metal door in an apartment building and had framed sheetrock walls on either side of the door. And we're pounding away on the door. And the lieutenant said, give me the axe. Knocks off the pieces of the sheetrock. He got 16 inches between the studs. And in we went and reached in and unlocked the door. So here we are going crazy, trying to get, not keeping it simple, just break the sheetrock. And I have a pilot's license, and I use this as an example all the time. My flight instructor, who was an ex-Army flight instructor, he said to me, our first flight had to be from Long Island to upstate New York, and you got the Hudson River. And he goes, Joe, so many of these people that take pilot lessons and fly, they have compasses and books and everything, and all out on their lap while they're flying. And all you got to do is fly to the Hudson River, fly up the Hudson River, and land at that airport, Stewart Airport. So don't fly over the river. Keep it simple. Yeah, have all your other information, but if you lose all, just go to the river and fly north. Keep it simple. Don't have all this complicated crosswinds and this and that. And they would fly right over the Hudson River and get lost upstate. So I always use that as an example. Um, well, that, I hopefully I didn't talk a little too fast. That kind of sums up the basics if you really listen to it. Cardio, weight training. We're going to be bodybuilders. One of the side benefits of it, you get a nice physique out of it. You have great strength in all your body parts for doing your job. These cardiovascular benefit, you do something different. And I just want to talk a little bit here about surviving the firehouse kitchen. I mean, this is the emotional side, and I hope everybody listens to Ed and I and this girl Amanda and a few other people are going to do a PTSD, um, the mental aspects of being a firefighter. I lost my brother Michael, New York firefighter, to suicide. So I have a little bit of a background in PTSD, having lived through it myself. and we're going to be talking about that. But I want to talk just a little bit here, while we're talking about fitness and working out, stuff like that, and surviving the firehouse kitchen. I mean, our humor, the practical jokes. One of my friends used to call it high school without the homework. That's what it was like. There's a bully, there's this, there's that. I mean, and my brother Michael, God rest his soul, he used to say, running into burning buildings is easy. Try surviving the firehouse kitchen and all the chop breaking and humor and stuff. And there's a place for it, I guess. I like to laugh just like anybody else, but I mean, know when to temper it or when you're really getting under somebody's skin. I mean, we'll talk about it again at the PTSD thing, but you know, and if you don't like working with somebody, either transfer or go to another place. I don't know, but that's a tough place to survive. Um, listen, I was a firehouse cook. I caught a lot of flack for different things I made, both good and bad. But that's just part of our culture. But we'll talk about more about that kind of stuff, the kitchen and the mentality of the firehouse. But I just wanted to mention it and ask everybody to just take that into consideration when you're busting somebody's chops about whatever. Next picture. Yep, and this is a friend of mine, Bill Bresnan, who's a New York City firefighter. He's the guy on the lower right. He's a pretty funny character. Just got recently started speaking with him again. I haven't talked to him in 25 something years. But this is a firehouse kitchen where we all sit around, and he called it the center of the firehouse universe. And it really is. And it's a place to get comfort, care, concern, laughs, good food. All of that comes with this culture. And that's one part of it. And that's why I wrote 3 cookbooks. I never want to see that ever change. And that's why I'm doing my YouTube cooking show too. I want to not ever lose that tradition. And I'm hearing from a lot of retired firefighters, yeah, they miss the burning building stuff, but they really miss the kitchen and the laughs and the camaraderie and somebody in that kitchen always knew how to do something, whether you had a plumbing problem, a relationship problem, a car problem, we were always able to somehow solve it. And if we couldn't solve it, we could laugh about it. And even the fitness stuff. Listen, I didn't hammer anybody when we were working out when I worked that, you were out of shape. And I was more than willing to help people. And that's what I want to do. Anybody that's listening, like I said, you can call me personally, you can email me personally. I had some people do that. And any way that I can help you, I'll help you. Let's switch to this next slide. The fellow on the left, that's me kissing him. Not that wasn't a romantic kiss. It was, we just came back from a pretty severe fire, and he was a character, and he unfortunately died of that's Richie Cornick. He died of lung cancer in the 80s. And the fellow on the right, that's Tony Perella, another good friend of mine. He unfortunately took his life, got in trouble with the fire department, and he took his life. That just shows you the pressure that's on us in the kitchen. And the fellow on the right, that's my brother Michael, and he was retired with a disability pension, and unfortunately life and circumstances got to him, and he took his life. And I don't want to ever see anybody have to go through what I went through, losing somebody like that. We don't need to lose people like that. Next slide. Okay, so anybody that's asked me any questions, you can go to support@AmericanFireHouseCuisine.com. If you ask for my telephone number, I'll give it to you. Call me personally if you want to talk about what exactly you need to do. Maybe write up a program for you or get you inspired. Hopefully, if I reached a few of you out there, you can talk to your chief or talk to your safety officer or health and safety officer and ask them. Love to do an in-person seminar. It's always much better to see people in person and talk to them in person, one-on-one. So if anybody's chiefs or safety officers are interested, be more than willing to do that. And Joe, I just wanted to go ahead.
Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to. I hope I didn't talk too fast. I just wanted to thank everybody for attending. This is very, very important stuff. I want you to go out there and have a kick-ass career, kick some doors down, break some windows.
So Joe, I gotta ask you a question.
Sure.
The question is, did you cut the grass after your dad snatched you off the couch And I just worked out. I can't cut the grass. Did you cut the grass?
I got a funnier story than that. You know what I
What?
did?
Answer
You
my
know what I
question.
did?
Did you cut the grass?
Uh, I didn't.
Uh-oh.
I didn't. And then I got so mad that he even asked me that I went down to the recruiting office and I said, I'll fix him. I'm going to join the military. And I went in the Air Force. And to this day, God rest my father's brave soul, I'll never forget having a drill sergeant yell at me at 4:30 in the morning to mow the lawn after morning drill and PT. And here I am mowing the lawn in Texas and I said, my poor father, after working in the South Bronx, and I again, I didn't understand it until I actually got on the job. But my poor father, working in the South Bronx, got to go out and mow the lawn while his 200-pound bodybuilder son is laying on the couch. But I hope when I got to basic training, when he went to his firehouse and was sitting in the kitchen at 88 engine, he was saying, yeah, my son was really going to show me. I asked him to get up at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning to mow the lawn, but he showed me. He went in the military. So I hope my father was saying, I hope there's some big drill sergeant screaming in his ear. And it was. So I got he got his comeuppance and so did I.
All right. Well, I didn't see any questions in the chat. A lot of good comments.
Okay.
So, and there's really nothing in the Q&A, but I just want our listeners to know, now what's this popped up here? I got stuff popping up on my screen that shouldn't be there. Where'd this come from? Anyway, so I want to thank you again and thank our listeners. And I'm sure you gave them some great tips. To our listeners, I just want you to know the slides that Joe used tonight will be attached to the email you get tomorrow, so you can go back and refer to them. We will do our best to put as many links as we can into the email you receive to get you to the YouTube videos that Joe's doing now. And if we have any other links that we need to, we'll get them in the email as well. And Joe's contact information, we'll put his email address in those links tomorrow whenever you get your email from Sam. So just don't worry about all the websites and stuff you heard tonight. That'll all be included in the email you get to. So I want to remind our audience, it'll be a short survey we'd like you to complete at the conclusion this evening. Keep an eye open in your email from me with your certificate for tonight's webinar. Also, tonight's episode will be uploaded to providentins.com. You'll receive that link in the email and within the next day. Please check your spam or junk email before sending me an email telling me you haven't received your certificate. For those of you who use the webinar as training for a group of people, when you receive the thank you for joining us email from Sam, there'll be an Excel spreadsheet attached. Please use this to send the names and email addresses to us for certificates. It makes it easier for me when I'm doing the certificates. You can view our previous webinars at www.providentins using the training and resources link. And I'll remind you again on September the 24th at 10 a.m., folks. We'll be doing it at 10 a.m., not because of the time difference between here and Sweden and the UK. Our webinar will be at 10 a.m. on the 24th. And we're going to be talking about the European tools and tactics they're using to deal with lithium-ion batteries. I also want to give you a heads up on October the 29th at 7 p.m. We'll be doing a roundtable discussion with the family survivors affected by first responder suicide. Joe will be one of our guests. I've got a young lady from Western Pennsylvania, Amy Gillinan, whose father passed away from suicide last July. And we'll also have Amy Tidwell, who's a counselor with the Behavioral Health Systems, join us. There won't be any slides. There won't be any PowerPoint. We're going to have a roundtable discussion to talk about an issue that is very important to me, obviously is very important to Joe, and I hope it becomes very important to the entire emergency services. So until we meet again, stay safe for your family's sake.